All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64 headed home. It is starting to get windy out here. Uh, there's this little matter of seatbelt, little matter of a hurricane coming this way. And so somebody got saved based on something the Lord had led me 2 years ago. The phrase that I say, go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody except the Lord into your heart. And so he put in the comments, that's what this is all about. If I can incite someone to consider that the rapture might possibly occur on a certain date, and it causes them to heartfeltly go in and accept the Lord, then that's awesome. How they feel about the date passing after that, to me, is irrelevant. Uh, Once you've accepted the Lord, once you're saved, you're always saved. This dispensation of grace is really simple. God made it so simple, and He gave it 2,000 years, um, that literally all you have to do is believe on Jesus. That's it, and you are saved. So um, it was so awesome to see this person's comment. For their privacy, I scratched out their name, but this is what he said. I'm sorry, it was the he or she, I don't recall, because I scratched out the name. I went to a quiet place, got on my knees, and I've accepted Jesus into my heart and said to Jesus, He is my Lord and Savior. And of course, I responded down below it. And that's what this is all about. Literally, God has guided us to this high watch period, which uh, honestly began at the Revelation 12 sign. That's when the hype jumped. Everybody said, that's it, that's the rapture day. And then we kept going on from there. Look at this date. This could be it. No, this date. This could be it. I can only imagine how many people made a clear choice at that point to say, this is all malarkey. I don't believe any of it. Or like this person here, they went in and accepted Christ. I don't ask him, how do you feel that the date passed? I really, it doesn't affect me in the slightest how if the date passed. What affects me is that he did this. And that's why I started this is what God led me to do, and from the very beginning. And what is the important part of anybody who does this? I'm not a minister, I'm not even a good teacher. I believe my timeline is accurate, but it appears as though God might be using the Hebrew calendar or a variation of something He said that we might have misunderstood, which I'll get to in a moment. So I went into Google, because Google's the best place to get information from. And I typed in, go to a quiet place. No one needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody except the Lord into your heart. And Google, Google gets me. It says this phrase is essentially saying to find a secluded, private space where you can quietly and personally commit to accepting Jesus Christ into your life without needing to tell anyone else about this personal decision. It reflects the biblical concept of praying in secret, as described in Matthew 6:6. And this is where I tell everybody that has asked me in the past, where do you get that from? That doesn't sound right. And of course, it doesn't sound right to somebody who hasn't done it. It doesn't sound right to somebody who has done it, because once you do it, this person back here who's done this is now saved and is now telling others, hey, you don't know when this is going to happen. I just accepted the Lord, and I have this whole new outlook on things. And I think it's a good idea that you might want to consider doing the same thing if any of this is bound to happen. We see it all around the world. It's not a big secret. I mean, we know it's coming. You can see all of the stuff going on in Israel. You can see there's a hurricane bearing down. They're talking about calling this a Cat 6. They said they've never had to call one a Cat 6 before because our uh, how do you call our weather doesn't allow for a Cat 6, yet they're seeing this thing develop, and they're like, we're going to have to create a new category for this thing. It's so powerful. And of course, what amazes me, why is it so powerful? And they can't tell if it's going to rain tomorrow correctly, but they can call out a hurricane 2 weeks before it forms. They called out the previous hurricane 2 weeks before it formed, and they called this one out 2 weeks before it formed. I, I've never heard of such a thing. I've never seen a hurricane. I've been living in Florida since I was 18. I've never seen a hurricane. Well, we've seen hurricanes come in, develop in the Gulf, but we've never seen them travel east. They all travel up. And every other hurricane develops over off the coast of Africa and comes in from the east to the west. It's something that's completely unique and different. And now we have two of them back to back. And now they're talking about a third one. So I don't know. You tell me. So this is where you find the verse. It's straight out of the Bible, Matthew 6, 5 and 6. Be thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when, sorry, I'm driving, thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. What's the reward? Now you get to partake in this beautiful thing that's going on where I tell you, and now you go tell somebody else. But before you are saved, you don't go to a church. And what the Bible here is explaining is you don't go to a church to get baptized and believe you just got saved. You don't walk up in front of a crowd. You don't confess your sins to a man. You don't do it. You go to a quiet place, something between you and your creator, and you say, and you could say whatever you want. That's the greatest part. You can say whatever you want right here. He created you. He knows your name. He carefully put you together in your mother's womb, and you are unbelievably important. So important that he sent his son here to die for you. That's how important each and know that if there was only one of you, if only one of you in 2,000 years had decided to go to a quiet place and accept the Lord, that Jesus would have still came. He would have still come here and he would have still died on the cross. That's how important you as an individual are. And that is what my channel is all about. It is not about a date, even though I believe the dates do cause people to concern themselves with this issue and might go in and accept the Lord. I do believe that. And how they feel afterwards, the date passes, I literally don't care. And that sounds rough or mean, I don't know, but it's literally of no concern because once you are saved, once you've done this heartfeltly, oh my goodness, the world is going to, how do you think they're going to get saved after the rapture? After the rapture, and we're caught up and taken away, and they see nuclear bombs about to fall on their heads, and they kneel down and say, Lord, I missed the rapture and I'm about to die. Please, the biggest atheists in the world laying on that bed are like, oh, I see the darkness. I can't believe this is what I chose. Why would you choose that when it's as simple as kneeling down and saying, Lord, I believe that you did what you did? You can do all the research you want. There's nobody denies that Jesus in fact came here. Nobody. The Jews accept it. The Muslims accept it. Everyone accepts the fact that he came here. Now, what did he do when he was here is the point of faith. No man, this is the piece of paper with the Bible verse that hangs on the wall behind me. No man can come to the Father, no man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me, draw him, and I will raise him up in the last day. There's several last days. There's a last day for the bride. There's a last day for the tribulation saint. There's a last day for the Jew, and there's a last day for the millennium. At which point do you, um, yeah, and it's free will. Trust me, it's all free will. You can decide to go to hell all you want, and God will oblige if that's where you want to go. And you can't blame Him because you heard this message and you ignored it like it was no big deal. So, what else do I have? That's it. I'm going to make another video on why I believe in the Bible when it says the there are several that say the rapture can only occur on the trumpets, and they will call it Rosh Hashanah, completely ignoring Exodus 12. And I don't think that word is new moon. I believe that word Chodesh, which is in the original language, which means one thing. It means new month. It does not mean new moon. I know they'll try to associate and call it month, and I just simply disagree with that. And so when you say that the civil year and the religious year, one of them is called the month of weeks, and the other one is called the month of years. We are in the month of years right now. And in the month of years is where all of the Jubilee and Shemitah cycles are counted from. And so if you were to say that blow up the trumpet in the new month on the last day, when you do that, you stop limiting yourself to a single day of trumpets. And we all have a whole different day, but if you make that statement as though it were the entire month, now we have, almost everyone included, except for the full moon people. We almost have everyone included in this time frame. On my timeline, the end of this month, the month of trumpets, the month of years, which begins the Jubilees and Shemitah cycles. This month ends on October the 15th, and you'll see that they are calling that the Feast of, I believe, 15th. I think they're calling that the Feast of Tabernacles. Again, it's amazing how the two timelines, the Hebrew timeline and the Enoch timeline, coincide. Being, that being the last day of the month, and that also being the first day uh, of Tabernacles. So, all right, Repo Man 64, please, please, I'm begging you, please. You don't know how to pray. You don't want to do it in front of people. Go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody. And accept the Lord into your heart. This is a private moment. And then after you do that, add crowns, add jewels to your crown, and go tell somebody. But before you're saved, this is a private, intimate moment between you and your Creator. You don't need to go out and tell everybody what you're about to do like it's some kind of pride. It says it right there in Matthew 6, 5 and 6, that, this moment, it's quiet. And even Google knows that. I mean, even Google knows that. So, all right, Repo Man 64, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I say subscribe, it doesn't get me anything, but I really believe that this is the green that's stored up, and that these videos will be saved by certain individuals and being brought back out during those 7 years. This is the saved up grain that they will be able to eat during the 7 years of famine. So don't believe for a second that all this work that God has had us do over the last 7 years is just going to get flushed as soon as the rapture occurs. It's not. Power's going to go down for a few days, but it'll be back up. And Satan ain't that smart. I don't believe he's that smart to get rid of all this stuff. As much as Satan hates us and rails against us, in the end, when he winds up in hell, they're going to look at him and go, "That guy, that's the guy we were afraid of. That's the guy we followed." And it's just it's so such an enormous waste of time for you not to accept the Lord when that's literally what's holding up this rapture is the last person come in, that one sheep out of 99. It's just that's one last person, and God knows who it is, and God is going to use one of you, including the guy that just got saved or girl. Sorry, I don't recall. Non-binary, the person that just got saved on that video that I made just a day ago. Go out and tell somebody, and you don't know, you might be the one to bring in the last one. And wouldn't that be amazing? What a testimony when you get to heaven. That you accepted, you believed, you told somebody else, they accepted, they believed, and how glorious is that God includes us in this program that He set up. It's absolutely amazing. So we will chat with you all again later.